Hi, my name is Dante Gagne and I'm one of the program managers on Visual Studio. I'm here today to show you some of the new tools that we've put into Visual Studio for being able to debug your apps at runtime. Now, I can sit here and talk about them for a while, but I think it'd be more fun to just go ahead and jump into the demo. So let me do that. So here I am in Visual Studio and I've already got an app running, and here I can start to show the first of the features I want to talk about today. When we released the UI debugging tools with Visual Studio 2015, we went to the community and asked what people thought of it. Now, everybody who's played with it has given us generally positive feedback, but we did get one bit from users who have decided to work with the Surface Pro, or generally folks who are working with a one-screen experience. They've asked us if there was a way that we could streamline it so that maybe there was a little bit less jumping back and forth. The in-app runtime tools, which are these small black box that you see at the top of my application, represents the first of these tools. Now I'm going to move my application a little bit to the side, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the first of these three buttons. The only thing that button does is it brings Visual Studio to the foreground and opens the live visual tree. So if you're working with multiple screens, this allows you to get focused where you want it very quickly. The other thing that I can do is I can enable the in-app selection. So with my app selected, right now it's off, so I can interact with my app, select an element inside my application to inspect. So I'm going to start by selecting work with accessibility, but the long and the short of it is both of them use a concept called an automation peer to communicate with assistive technologies like narrator or other screen readers. The thing is, the properties shown on your automation peer are the only properties that someone using a screen reader have the ability to see. But up till now, there's been no way for you as a developer to see your elements from that perspective. Now, with my text block selected, I'm going to choose the Live Property Explorer, and you'll see at the top a new scope for accessibility. When I expand this, this is now showing me all of the properties that the automation peer is exposing to the assistive technologies. So this is what somebody using a screen reader is going to be able to see. So I can see what the accelerator keys are, what the access keys, information like whether or not it's enabled. So everything seems to be okay here. But if you look, my help text is blank. So while an individual who uses assistive technologies like a screen reader would be able to use my app, they might not be able to get the information about what this does. All they're being told is Saturday. That's not really useful. So what I want to do is I want to go another step and add a help text to this particular element. I'm going to add it in the data template so that all code for that particular text block. All right, there's my text block. I'm going to jump to the end of the line and just start typing. It's automation properties dot help text, day of the week for the appointment. Now, if you're paying attention, I just showed you the third feature that I want to talk about today. My application is running and I'm able to edit the XAML code. We have been looking for a long time to be able to release XAML edit and continue. I can expand the Live Property Explorer here, and when I refresh my properties, you'll see the help text is now being populated by the dependency property. What I've done is I've modified the source code and the running app updates immediately. It's kind of interesting. 5 years ago on Stack Overflow, somebody asked, hey, can we get edit and continue for XAML? And at that time we had to say, no, we can't do that. But as time has gone on with UI debugging and the Roslyn language service, we're finally at the point where we can release edit and continue for XAML applications, both for WPF and apps that target the universal Windows platform. Let me show you what else we can do with this. My application has got this urgent flag that my developers put in for me, but for some reason they chose a background of blue. Well, urgent usually isn't blue, that's something else. So let's go ahead and select that urgent tag. In the Live Property Explorer, I can see that the background for that style is bound to a solid color brush. The green rectangle around it means this is a resource. With the new tools, I can expand the background. I can see the key that this resource is tied to, in this case, urgent background color, and I can expand that further to see the properties of the resource. So here I have an element inside a data template consuming a resource, and I can go ahead and modify those properties. And the property is updated in my running application at runtime. I'm getting all excited about XAML edit and continue. Why don't we edit it that way? I'm going to go to my background property. I'm going to go to the source, and that'll open it up in my code editor. It's right here. Here's a static resource. I'm going to press F12, which is go to definition, and it's going to open that resource dictionary for me. Now something's going on here. The urgent background color is set to dark blue. Didn't I just change it to green? It certainly looks like it. When we started doing the edit and continue, and we started doing the idea of committing these values to source at runtime, we got two very strong messages from the community. People wanted a playground to be able to make modifications, test different values and things like that without modifying the source code. And they wanted a clear way to modify the source code and to do it themselves. They didn't really want the live property editor making those modifications for them. We took that mindset, and that represents how these tools work. The Live Property Explorer represents a playground. You can modify whatever properties you want, you make whatever changes you like, and all of that is kept independent of your source code. You're not mucking with your source code when you're doing that. However, I can now make the change here in my source code. I get the immediate feedback in the running application, and now this is a change to my source. So as soon as I save, that value is going to be committed, and I'm going to be able to get that value after the fact. All right, great. So I've fixed a couple issues. Let's take a look at one more. I'm going to scroll over a little bit, and you can see at the bottom right, it shows the time of the appointment and this 12, but I don't know what that 12 is. Well, if you look at what's selected, he's in room 12. So apparently the label for the room didn't come through. Let's go ahead and use edit and continue to fix that as well. So I'm going to click on the 12, and I'm going to bring Visual Studio back to the front, which I could have done from the in-app runtime tools, but this worked as well. I'm going to bring up the live visual tree and find that that text block is selected, and go to source to find it. Right text block, but the hour one right next door, that's got all the right properties, so why don't I just capture that? So I'm going to copy that one, move up here, paste, and you can see in the running app, it went ahead and updated it on the fly. Now, oh, in fact, not only that, I should really change the label to the room. There we go. So what we were actually able to do here was modify the visual tree dynamically in the source code without stopping the app. All of this has been done on a living app. If you don't believe me, I can go ahead, turn off in-app selection, and I can interact with my application as normal. So let's recap here. What did we do? Well, we took a look at the in-app runtime tools, which allow you to work more easily with the UI debugging tools in a one-screen environment. We took a look at the accessibility properties. These are the properties that allow me to see the properties that assistive technologies are going to use to report my application state to people who need a screen reader. And then we started diving into edit and continue. With that, we were able to add dependency properties, we were able to change a resource in a data template, and we were even able to modify the visual tree in real time without having to change our application or stop debugging. So I've got a few links here that you might want to use to follow up on a few things. The first one is our user voice. The Windows tools, which is my team, we're always looking to the community for feedback on what you think is the most important. When you start working with edit and continue, if there's a particular experience that's not working correctly, head up to user voice and let us know about it. We're going to be taking that feedback and using that to choose what to prioritize over what else to make sure. The second one is Microsoft's Enable site. This is a great resource if you're learning to work with accessible apps and help to develop accessible apps for your community. And down at the bottom, if you're interested, that's my Twitter link. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, private message me if you've got something you want to talk about, or let me know how edit and continue is working for you. We're always looking to the community to, let us know how our tools are behaving. From here, it's up to you to go ahead, grab the tools, play with them, and let us know what works. Thank you.